What up, New York Giant Nation and football fans all over the world? It's your boy, Mac the Giants fan, and I'm here with my guy, the super dope co-host, Adam Costas.
Hello.
Y'all know what time it is. It's time for the real deal NFC East round up. Punch that intro. What is going on out there, everybody, man? Welcome to another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup, man. How's it going out there, Adam, man?
Good. How are you, man? It's I know the show's a little off today, but we got some scheduling conflicts that we need to get done. But the season's finally over, thank goodness, and I'm ready to move on to the offseason as we know. That's already in full effect for the Giants and Commanders.
Absolutely, it's gonna be definitely gonna be an interesting all season around the league, as you see a lot already happening. A lot of new coaches gonna be in play in the 2024 season, man. So let's get right to it, man. Let's go to Sunday afternoon, Week 18 in the books, man. Dallas Cowboys traveled over to Washington to take on them Commanders. All the Dallas Cowboys needed to do was get a win, and they were winning the NFC East division, and that is absolutely what they did. Did not leave anything, and didn't even try to put it in the hands of anything else. They just took care of their own business, man. The Dallas Cowboys went over there to DC. The game started off a little clunky, a little slow for the Cowboys, but clearly, when it came time to put the pedal to the metal, man, they absolutely did. Stepped on the Commanders' throats, and the final score here, as you see, 38-10. And he takes on this one real quick, Adam.
That we know what we know about the Commanders. They had a rough season. I will admit that I was wrong with the Sam Howell take. I thought he was going to be a good player. Turns out that he's a sucky player. I think he got the raw deal, to be honest with you, but I was not surprised by the result. I did mention at the first that the Cowboys were the Cowboys, and it looked like at first the Cowboys were going to, be who they are, and the Commanders were in the game for a little bit, but then eventually things came to, and the Cowboys woke up and destroyed them. So no surprise.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. From Facebook here, man. So amazing, New Jersey, man. He said, I heard the Giants coaches have been beefing in house. Any truth to that? I mean, look, I don't work in the building. I'm not, all I know is the things I read, and I've been reading some things like that, hearing some things like that. That there's been some definite, little bit of beef going on within the coaching staff. So, I don't know any details.
We can get to more of that when we talk about the Giants. We can get a little bit into what they're doing here, but we'll want to get through these games quickly, and then we'll talk about the offseason stuff that's going on around the league. Obviously, it's newsworthy, but right now we just want to talk about Cowboys, Commanders, and then move on from there.
What's going on? No mess, no nest, no jets.
There's our. If there was
brother.
If there was a listener of the year award, it would go to No Mets, No Jets.
Absolutely.
He is here every week, no matter what the time is. He finds a way to get there. So I appreciate you for being here throughout the season.
Most definitely. That is the absolute facts, Adam. So yeah, this one here. I mean, Washington. You know what the Dallas Cowboys had. They got a game coming up on Sunday. They'll be hosting the Green Bay Packers. We'll talk about that in a few. But the Washington Commanders, man, they easing on into the offseason, man. Obviously, Ron Rivera was fired Monday, and that was
not really easy.
Not a surprise to anyone. Commanders are definitely
full steam ahead for them.
Commanders are definitely a team that's going to have a very busy offseason as they now will be looking to hire a new coach. They got, who knows what they're going to do at the quarterback position. They're sitting at the number 2 pick, I believe, in the draft, so they're in prime position to make some things happen. See what they trying to do here, man. But what do you think about this Commanders team? You think Eric Bieniemy came in as an offensive coordinator? He left Kansas City. You think he came in maybe expecting to potentially be the predecessor, the word I'm looking for, the predecessor to Ron Rivera in Washington?
No, Eric. You saying Eric Bieniemy? Is that who you're mentioning? I don't think he'll be. I think he'll be given. I think he'll be given an interview. At best, I think he'll be given an interview. I don't think he'll be the predecessor to him. I just think they're going to go with. They're going to. I mean, look, Mike Vrabel's out there. Like, there's big time coaches out there, and you're going to give Eric Bieniemy, a guy who I feel hurt Sam Howell's growth, to be the head coach. I doubt it. If Ron Rivera had a winning season, or they were like 7-8 or something like that, and the offense was really cooking, I could see them saying, "Hey, you know what? Sam Howell looks great. He had this many yards, and he's our guy. Let's usher it into Eric Bieniemy." I think Eric Bieniemy will get the interview to unfortunately satisfy the Rooney Rule, but I think they'll go elsewhere. They're going to try to land a big fish. Somebody big, somebody smart, or an offensive mind. They're going to want to win out the gate. So Eric Bieniemy doesn't do anything for me outside of that. He reminds me of what the Eagles did. They ran 11 personnel. He was in shotgun all the time. And that hurts a young quarterback when all you do is pass the football. Look what happened with the Eagles. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I think their offensive coordinator did the same thing that Eric Bieniemy did. They tried to use the pass, set up the run. It didn't work out, and I think that hurt the growth of Sam Howell.
Yeah, any chance you think, do you see Washington not going with a quarterback here and giving Sam Howell another shot? Any chance?
If they don't go with a quarterback here, then they're going to fire the head coach that they hired. So basically, if you want to keep your job, you better go for a quarterback here in the draft. It doesn't matter if it's. I heard there's rumors that they want Caleb Williams and they want Drake May. I think they want Caleb Williams. I don't know what the Chicago Bears are doing in terms of keeping the pick, not keeping the pick. That'll flesh itself out as we go. But you're definitely taking a quarterback here, unless. And here's another thing to talk about. Unless you get a guy out there in a trade, or some type of quarterback needy team that says, "Hey, we're going to trade our starter for you," right? Like Russell Wilson. Do you want to bring him in and say, "Hey, listen, we want to jumpstart this narrative right now. We're going to bring this guy in. We're going to bring Russell Wilson, get fans behind the seats"? Because to me, the Commanders let go of this season mid-season, probably about week 10, right? Whenever week 8, whenever their trades were made, right, to get rid of Sweat and Chase Young. At that point, I knew what they were doing. They decided, you know what, we don't care about winning against the Giants. We know exactly what we're going to do. New ownership, they're going to want to make a splash. They're going to want to bring in a quarterback. And I think, it's going to be if they want Caleb Williams, then they're going to have to convince Chicago, "Hey, listen, Drake May is just as good. Give us Caleb, and we'll give you our entire draft, like Mike Ditka did for Ricky Williams." Something's going to happen, but we'll see. I mean, yes, that is the most Washington thing to do, but we're not talking about we're not talking about Dan Snyder led team. We're talking about John Harris led team, who is known to make moves. He's done it with the Devils. He's done it with the Sixers. He's a guy that is not afraid to make moves. And I think with Magic Johnson being part of the ownership group, I just think they're going to want to make a big splash. And Caleb Williams and Drake May are those big splashes. And we'll see what they do. But there's going to be a quarterback. Unless you want to be fired out the gate, you get a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Washington's going to be definitely a team.
Let me demonstrate how that's going to go, right? Hi, I'm Adam Costas. I'm the new head coach of the Commanders. I did not draft a quarterback. Under the news blotter, fired. New Commanders coach Adam Costas fired for not drafting a quarterback with a second overall pick. That's how fast it will go.
Well, yeah, Washington's definitely going to be a very team to have your eye on this offseason. As things expect a lot of movement, a lot of things going on in this Washington Commanders organization, man. During this offseason, man, they're going to be a very very busy team. They got a lot of holes to plug up on that team. And the weird thing about this team was they started the season off looking like one of those teams that might have been one of those little sneaky surprise teams, man. The way they were getting things were going for them a little bit in the beginning, and then this just everything just everything just fell apart for this football team, and they ended this season about as bad as anybody. Probably were the worst team in the league going down the stretch, to be quite honest. I mean, this team was bad on the back half of the season, and it's and now it's just like starting all over again for them. And we'll see what happens, man, with this Washington Commanders team. But they'll be an interesting team, and we'll be keeping track of them a little bit right here on the Real Deal NFC East Roundup throughout the off season, man. So
Yeah, we will be in the
be
off
back to
season
them.
and our feelings and stuff like that. But the Washington Commanders, like you said, they were pretty cool for a while, but then they fell off the boat real quick. So I think that the interesting part is that they did this before Dan Snyder was named the guy. When Dan Snyder was there, they named Sam Howell their quarterback to see what they got, and they figured it out. So now they have a chance to move on, and they'll be able to do that.
Absolutely. So
What,
now
what
we
what
take
what
it.
I'm scared of is my last point is facing Dak Prescott twice a year, Jalen Hurts twice a year, and then facing Caleb Williams twice a year, and we're gonna roll out Daniel fucking Jones, Daniel One Leg Jones, Peg Leg Jones. I'm gonna call him from now on as our quarterback. So just let that sink in, folks.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, that's we'll see how that goes down, man. We don't know what the Giants going to do either. But Week 18, New York Giants hosting the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles coming into this game losers of four of their last five going into this football game here. And went up to MetLife Stadium, and the New York Giants did something they had not done in quite a while, and that was absolutely put a butt whooping on the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. This score could have even been more lopsided, to be honest. It could have been. It very well could have been the way this game was going down, but 27-10, New York Giants finished their season on a high note, win for nothing. It really did nothing for them. Honestly, as you see, the New York Giants season is still very much over, and they are very much into their offseason process now, too. Philadelphia Eagles going into the postseason, reeling into the postseason, losing to five of their last six. Would have taken a trip to Tampa Bay on Monday night, man. What you think about this one, Adam?
Well, I thought the Eagles would come out and do what they normally do because history normally repeats itself, but they came out flat. If you go look at the highlights, it looks like they gave up or didn't really care about winning. They kind of knew what the deal was. Get ready for next week. As we know that the Cowboys were there, that you obviously have to play your starters because if the Cowboys happen to choke and you choked, you would have been fired. I mean, Nick Sirianni's probably going to be fired at the end of Tampa Bay if they don't win. But I got to enjoy the second half of this game. The first half I didn't enjoy because I didn't know our draft positioning. But at the end of the second half, when the draft positioning started to come to fruition, and I knew that winning the game didn't put us down much more than a spot. And of course, other teams, when you want them to do what you need them to do, it never works out for you. So I enjoyed the second half watching Tyrod Taylor. What I came away from this game knowing is that the Giants have a quarterback problem. When you have the backup quarterback doing what he's done, and it's not that Daniel Jones has beaten the Eagles, I think, once, right? Once in his life, he was injured. Tyrod Taylor's matched that, okay? And he's put up 27 points. And he was throwing the ball all down the yard. He's 34 years old. I wish the kid was 24 years old because I would say bring him back next year and let's roll with Tyrod Taylor. But he's 34. He's going to be 35 next year with a history of injuries. But you saw what this offense could be. And to me, this is what they want their offense to be. Now, there's a ton of problems that the Giants are going to have. They have 26 guys coming off the books this year. That's a lot of money that they're going to have to give up. $25 million to about $35 million in cap space. So there's going to be a lot of moves to be made with a little bit of money. I don't think the Giants are going to do too much. I think they'll make a couple moves here and there. I don't think they sign too many big free agents, maybe one or two. But I think this team's mindset should be rebuild. Because even though we had this great win against the Eagles after 11 straight butt weapons, whatever the fucking case may be, it's it's one of those things where we cannot do what Joe Shane did in the press conference, and that was we cannot over anticipate ourselves, and that's what we did. And even Joe Shane said it in the press conference. They kind of, they kicked away the rebuild process and tried to jumpstart the winning process. And right now they got to go back to the rebuild process, and it starts with the guy under center. You have the funniest part about this season is that you have enough tape from 3 different quarterbacks to understand that there's an issue. And normally that doesn't happen. Usually you get one guy that starts. But we've had 3. We had Tommy DeVito, Daniel Jones, and obviously Tyrod Taylor. And 2 out of the 3 guys who were on this team after the $160 million quarterback have been played and played better. I don't care who the opponents were. They played remarkably better. Last thing I'll say is this, okay, about number 8, because I'm not addressing him with his name anymore. Number 8, okay, don't let his contract be the reason you don't draft a quarterback. Joe Shane and Brian Dable, with all that's going on right now, you need to save your jobs. The only way that both of you remain here, and I mean both of you, is by finding a quarterback in this upcoming draft. And when the season hits the shits, or if Daniel's doing good, you can trade him off next year for whatever, or he stinks, you can cut him. At least you have a guy in house to save your job. Not a 3rd round quarterback, a 1st or 2nd round quarterback needs to be in here, preferably at 1st to restart that rookie clock in case you want to build. But as for beating Philly, it was good, I guess, to send Philadelphia into the playoffs with a loss. And I probably will be texting my Philly friends, say, hey, at least you're 1 game better than us, because that's probably what they're going to do, unless somehow they come together and beat Tampa Bay, which is kind of interesting. If you go to the Philadelphia side, they might fire their coach. Interesting enough, they went to the Super Bowl and have 3 winning seasons with their head coach. Our head coach, who has 1 winning season, gets coach of the year, is feeling himself up, won 1 playoff game, has a shitty season, is losing all his friends, still has a job. Just let that sit there.
Yeah, absolutely good stuff right there, Adam, man. Yeah, this New Year Giant team already, it's been already a bit of a tumultuous week. As we know, Monday, Wink Martindale resigned as defensive coordinator, stepping down. Apparently just can't get along with the coach, and that just wasn't going to be, I guess it wasn't going to work out with him hanging around here, still being here with this organization. Wink Martindale really did some great things with this defense, considering it's not loaded with necessarily all the top talent around the league. I mean, it got a couple great guys on there, but for the most part, not a lot of household names. And Wink Martindale was really starting to get the most out of this defense. I think they put up a number during the game against the Eagles on Sunday. Like, the Giants led the league in turnovers from at whatever point in the season, man. A tremendous number. So he really had this defense really doing some really special things, man. Got a whole lot out of free agent acquisition. Bobby Okereke, Xavier McKinney, had these guys on the field for every defensive snap of this season, of this whole season, man. That's a tremendous feat in itself. I mean, you don't see a lot of guys doing that around the league, man. And you had 2 guys on this defense hanging in there. So look, this New York Giant team, man, it's starting to become a little messy for my liking. This is not the same franchise that I grew up. It seemed like that I grew up. This was
So much drama.
Growing up loving this football team, this franchise. Yeah, this franchise didn't deal with that. It was always, good blue collar franchise, man. Put your hard hat on, go to work, and then play none of the games, man. Now we're starting to just too much weird. Like, this is crazy. I mean, we go out there, had this big win on Sunday, even though it didn't really mean nothing, but just a pride, big win gets a arch rival that just always has your number. So and it's a big win in a sense, Go out on a high, at least go out on the season on a high note. And then you just turn around the next day and it's just right back to all the same old drama all over again. I mean, you understand. Obviously, Bobby Johnson, he had to go. That needed to happen anyway. Thomas McGahee, he was a great guy, man, but you had to go. That needed to happen. That needed to happen a while ago. I don't even know how he was here as long as he was, to be honest. But it's this team is just it's like it befuddles me.
I'll tell you why he
This
was
New York
here.
Giant team, man, the
Because
way
of
it plays.
Graham Gano. Graham Gano saved our special teams coordinator's ass with his kicks from long distances and things like that, right? But what I couldn't stand is a fair catch after fair catch. Finally, we get a punt return for a touchdown. We're like, where was this guy? So there's so many things going on. The Wink Martindale thing is kind of interesting to me because I'll touch on it as quickly as I can. Is because there's always three sides to a story. There's stable side, there's Wink side, and then there's the truth, right? And what we're finding, what I think is happening right now is they're trying to paint Wink as a bad guy, worse than Dable, which I don't think. I think storming out was terrible, and you shouldn't have done that. Once I knew, and it's official now. I do believe it's official now. Wink Martindale has officially resigned.
It's official. It is official.
Okay, so they're mutually have parted ways, and so for me, I thought.
We lost Adam there for a second. I'm sure he'll be right back. He was talking about Wink Martindale. Yeah, he was. He was. It has been officially. It's been official now that has resigned and he will no longer be the defensive coordinator for the New York Giants. But yeah, this off season, man, this team, it's going to be a lot going on. There's people up in the air don't know what they want to do coming to the draft. Coming to okay, do you want to finish your point?
Sorry about that. My son was playing with the mouse in the other room, and he somehow booted me. Crazy how that I didn't know that's how long distance worked. But anyways, I have a wireless mouse, so it was in the other room, and he was playing with it. So anyways, quickly, my point is that I think they're painting Wink Martindale as the bad guy here, even though Dable is hard to work with. They're talking about Paul Schwartz tried to change up his reporting, saying that Wink that Dable, asked Wink not to blitz, and they blitzed, and all this disagreements, and all this stuff went down. Wink didn't help himself by storming out and leaving and going on an airplane. That doesn't work out that way. So I think, I think the problem is that they tried to, the defense tried to win games and overcompensate for the offense, and the offense was not good. And Wink Martindale won us some games. Literally, his defensive units won us games. Without his defensive effort, we're probably a 2-win team this season. Seriously, because we probably don't probably don't beat the Patriots. We got 3 turnovers that game. We probably don't beat the Commanders. We got 6 turnovers that game. We probably don't beat the Green Bay Packers. We got a couple turnovers that game. Okay. And things like this don't happen without him, right? He kept if Wink Martindale had a better offense, we'd be talking about Wink Martindale getting a head coaching job somewhere because the defense would be doing that much work. Because he's here and he's a bad personality, didn't work out. Sometimes you got to work out with your people and kind of rub elbows with people and move on from it. But what I think happened here was they didn't like each other. It was better that they parted ways. Dayball seems like he's a bit of a jerk to deal with. Wink Martindale's a 60-year-old stubborn old man. He's a bit of a jerk as well. He's not going to be told by some young buck what he needs to do, right? Who's been in the league longer and all this stuff. You're some upstart rookie. And that's how he talked to him, right? Those Eagles, those alpha male personalities don't work out. Now, I think they're going to try to get a guy in like Leslie Frazier, a guy that's going to be in here, more of a subdued guy. The one problem I have with the new coordinator is all the growth you had on defense means nothing now. It means nothing because we don't know what type of fronts they're going to play. We don't know how they're going to be utilized. We don't know if Kayvon Thibodeau is the right fit for this defense. Remember, you were building a defense for Wink Martindale's system, right? Remember, Dexter Lawrence had his 2 best seasons under Wink Martindale. So now what happens if Leslie Frazier comes in, or if they move from a 3-4 front to a 4-3 front? How does that effectiveness stop Dexter Lawrence? So a lot of things going to go on, and this is the reason why I think the Giants need to draft a quarterback, because the defense I think is going to be an issue to the point where it may cost you games, and those are the games that against big time teams that might go down there because you don't know the full defense yet. Right? If you lose McKinney, you lose these guys. Personnels are meant for defenses, and if your personnel doesn't fit the defense you're rolling with, you're going to have some trouble.
You brought up Xavier McKinney right there at the end of your take, man. He's obviously one of the biggest free agents for the New York Giants this season. How you think the New York Giants make him a priority heading into this offseason?
I think they'll give him an offer. Well, enough. Will he accept that offer? That's on him. I think he's going to go out and try to get the bag, knowing that one, he's the most effective in Wink Martindale's system. Okay. Two, he's claiming that he's the best safety in the league, so he's going to want to get paid like it. And he's already saying things like "put respect on my name." I don't think the Giants, with what they've done with their free agency right now, and the limited cap space that they have, are going to go after him. I think when he said the comments that he made, they didn't offer him anything during the season, and he kind of was off-putting after this team, gave him money. He did what he did with his hand. Remember, he blew his hand off, and got into an accident with the ATV, right? Yet he's the one who's the bad guy, right? So I think he's going to want the bag, and I think he's not going to be a Giant next year, unfortunately. And that's sad because I really liked McKinney. I liked how he conducted himself on the field. I didn't think he was having a good year, but somebody brought it up in a space I was in. They said, he didn't really start to come on until like after the week 8, week 9, the Raider game when they traded Leonard Williams. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. Did he realize that he needed to get the bag and turn it on that last eight games? So we'll see. I think Joe Shane needs to understand it's rebuild mode and not to worry about signing long-term guys. Start building through the draft. Dane Belton was drafted here for a reason. I think that'll be his replacement. You have Justin Pinnock, who's cheap on a cheap deal. He'll probably be out there too. You could run with those two guys as your starting safeties. And we'll see. I mean, there's a ton of other guys. Adoree Jackson, I don't think is going to be brought back. Jahad Ward, he was a Wink Martindale type of guy. Will he be brought back? So there's going to be a lot of turnover on this defense, which to me, if you're Joe Shane and, you're trying to trade up for that pick to number 1, if you need to trade guy like a Dexter Lawrence or Azeez Ojulari or Kayvon Thibodeau, make that move now because your defensive coordinator may not use those guys the same way.
That's a very good point. Very good point. And I agree. I think McKinney probably did play his last game. I think his price tag is going to be a little too high for the New York Giants this offseason. Unfortunately, I just think, he clearly is a talented safety. He played tremendous down the stretch of this season. I mean, had a great interception, had 2 interceptions in the game on Sunday. One was a sensational one on the sideline over there, keeping his feet in bounds. But yeah, I think the price tag is going to be a little too high, man. Because Mitch just set up and think, why would he stay for less?
I don't think we're going to
stay for less. So.
You're right. Well, you think about this. Him and Saquon Barkley are in the same boat. They both think they're the best at their position. Okay, and when you're the best at your position, you want to be paid as such. You're Mac. You have a job. You're probably pretty good at your job. When the year comes up and you go meet with your boss at the beginning of the year, you want that review. You want that raise. But like, hey, man, I hit those goals and then some. I can go take my services elsewhere and get paid more money, but I'm here with you, right? Same thing with these players. They want to get paid their most money. So I think they'll offer him money. They might offer him fair market value because they do a lot of comparisons. But Jesse Bates might be better than him, who's have a better season. Kyle Hamilton has a similar year. He thinks that he said it verbatim himself. He's the best in the league. He does everything better than everybody else. So he's going to want to get paid. And there's going to be a team out there like the Washington Redskins who have a lot of cap space, or maybe Denver, or a few other teams that have a lot of cap space that are going to just want to pay this guy. The Giants, while they have cap space, I think they're going to make one big splash, and that's on the offensive side for the offensive line. And then they're going to sign, kind of bargain basement free agent guys.
Well, we will find out. We will see, man. It's going to be quite the busy offseason for the New York Giants, though. But what's going on, Chad? Thanks for stopping in, bro. Appreciate you. But let's move it along a little bit. Let's stay with the Eagles, though, man, because this Eagles team has gone into the postseason, reeling into the postseason, man. Like I said, losers 5 of their last 6, man. And they got to match up on Monday night. They got to hit the road, even though their record is better. They overall were a better football team this season than Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I don't think they really
Tampa Bay won their division, the NFC South, so. We will see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the Eagles
Well,
team does, man. On their way on Monday night to go see Tampa Bay.
at least
With the
Tampa
way
Bay
they've been
is
playing, I would say,
at least Tampa Bay is a winning team this
yeah.
year. They went in. They didn't go in at 8-9. They went in at 9-8.
Well, I mean, yeah, they did that. I mean, I can appreciate them at least having a winning record,
That's what I mean.
but yeah, but this Tampa Bay team right now, I mean, offensively, they can do a lot of things that the Eagles are having problems with defensively struggling, and the Tampa Bay has a good one, has a great 1-2 punch, one of the better 1-2 punches at the wide receiver position. They have a rejuvenated Baker Mayfield at quarterback, and they can run the ball a little bit here and there when they need to. But the Eagles have really been struggling defending that pass game, as you've seen the New York Giants, Tyrod Taylor and the Giants on Sunday, absolutely shredding them in the air. Tampa Bay is coming with a lot more talent in special in the skill positions, especially at the wide receiver spot. So you think the Eagles have some problems with Tampa Bay down there?
I think the Eagles are going to lose this game. There's two things for the Eagles. One, they can turn it on. Sometimes teams do that. They'll just turn it on. They're in the playoffs, bang, and it'll go on. If they're on and they play mistake-free football offensively, they could win this game. However, on the defensive side of football, will they be able to stop the run and get to the passer? Matt Patricia has not been able to solve their problems. They have big-time front seven out there. So it's tough. But on the other side, Tampa Bay is a Jekyll and Hyde team. Tampa Bay needs to come out on fire to win this game. I think Baker Mayfield has a lot to prove. I think he wants to bag. To think that if he wins this game, he'll have a better legacy. Well, not a bigger legacy, but better than last year, the Tom Brady's last season. He'll have won a playoff game. They'll be in the divisional round. It'll be one of those things where they have a chance to do it. Now, if they play the sloppy football that they play sometimes, like this last week, they played and they won 9-0 against Panthers. That effort's not going to beat the Eagles. I'm sorry, that effort's not going to beat the Eagles. I don't know. I didn't watch the game. I don't know if they had a conservative game plan, if the Panthers couldn't get out of their own way. But you're not going to beat the Eagles regardless of 9 points. So we need to find out what they can do. They have a decent defense. They have a solid running game, and their quarterback's playing lights out. If he plays like the Baker Mayfield's played the last few weeks, they're going to win. Now, the Eagles, on the other hand,
I mean, I just
the Eagles quickly need to get out of their own way. A lot of what we saw last week was too much 11 personnel. Run the football. You run the football, you're going to win a lot more games. So we'll see if the Eagles get their run game on track. That's the only way I feel they can win this game.
the Eagles are probably going to be their same stubborn ass Eagles, the same team they've been all season, man. And they're going to come. And I just believe that right now Tampa Bay just has what it takes to exploit the Eagles' weaknesses. Like I said, I think Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, that's a tough ask for this against this Eagles defense, all things considered. And what's the status of A.J. Brown for the Eagles, by the way? Devontae Smith. I mean, these guys are all beat up right now at the wrong time. Jalen Hurts is not coming into this 100%, whatever's going on with his finger. I mean, obviously we know he'll be out there. That's
They're
not going
right
to
for the
keep him out of
picking.
this postseason game, but absolutely.
They're right for
I
the
mean,
picking.
I just think, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. I just said they're right for the picking, meaning if you're going to
No,
beat them now.
well, that's what I'm saying. I just think, even though like you just brought up Tampa Bay's effort on Sunday seemed to be like, I don't know what was going on, 9-0 against Carolina in the game that Tampa Bay needed to win. It wasn't like they could go. They were just going out there going through the
Yeah,
motions. They
right.
needed to win that football game. So it's the way that 9-0 score does kind of make you think a little, wonder at the same time. You can maybe put it on Carolina is still a familiar divisional rival opponent, no matter how bad they are. I mean, it's just familiar opponents, things, games, and divisional games, divisional matchups. All bets are kind of off. But at the end of the day, I still think this damn Bay team does get fired up for this postseason matchup. And the Eagles, man, they're reeling, man, and they got all kind of rumors swirling, and people thinking about trying to run Nick Sirianni out of town. All of a sudden, I mean, this team's a mess right now. I mean, they are a hot mess
Not
at
worse
the
than us.
absolute wrong time of the year. I
I mean,
mean,
they may have
it's
some
a, it's
internal
just
strife, but they're in the playoffs, and
yeah.
shit happens.
Well, yeah.
You know, I don't know, man. If they fire a coach after going to the playoffs 3 straight years, then somebody's going to land there, and it'll depend on who they want. Right now, if you think Mike Vrabel's the guy that's going to lead this football team, and Nick Sirianni you don't like, you fire him, and then I wouldn't be surprised. I would hate to see this: Mike Vrabel and Wink Martindale on the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't even want to. Wink might go to fucking Philly just to spite Dable's ass, bro. Yo, he might do it just to spite Dable's ass. Like,
Him
yeah,
or Washington, right?
I'm gonna
Fuck
have,
that. I want to see them twice a
I'm
year
gonna
for the next
have,
5 years. Fucking fire my friends. Fucking call me a fat fucking guy. Fucking I'm gonna fire. I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your fucking. I can just see it right now. Him and Vrabel, both alpha males, both angry kind of dudes you don't want to get on their bad side, right? Vrabel's gonna be like, all right, man, go off. He's just gonna have that defense in a tizzy. I'm telling you, man. Philadelphia. If I'm Philadelphia and I lose this game, if I'm Harry Roseman, I'm on the phone. I'm on the phone during the game. I might be on the phone during the. Yo, Wink, man. What's your availability come Tuesday? Because we're about to lose this. Because we're about to lose this game, and I'm gonna fire everybody and bring in Mike Vrabel and Wink Martindale. Away we go.
yo, I mean, I don't even want to think about that, man. I just don't.
Meanwhile, we're rolling out.
Wink will dial it.
Brian
Wink
Fat
will
Dable.
dial it up.
Bro, we're bringing in Fat Dable and Old Man Frazier coming down. We're like, oh yeah, we got Old Man Frazier here and Brian Fat Jolly Dable against Mike Vrabel, angry. I'm just saying, like the whole NFC East is going to be on a different playing field next year, and the Giants are going to be spinning their wheels with a fucking quarterback with 2 neck injuries and a fucking bum knee, and this team thinks they're going to come back. It's funny.
Yeah, that'll be out of man. But Eagles, man. With this football team, with the way what you've been seeing, do you think you really? I mean, they're still going into this game as the favorites, as I guess they should. I mean, respectfully, they're still
Right.
an 11-6 football team, even though at one point they were 10-1. Let's throw that out there. They were 10-1 at one point. So,
People
but
don't stop them. They're stubborn. They don't change their system. This is the problem. Like if the Eagles, like I said before, if the Eagles play mistake-free football, they're going to win the football game running away. But they don't. You know why? Because when they get 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6, they turn and they pass the ball. And what is funny is when they were running the football when Nick Sirianni got there, when they were passing the football when Nick Sirianni got there, they ran the football the second half of the year. They got to the playoffs. Then last year they ran the football a lot with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders and had a decent run game, and it really propelled them. This year, they have DeAndre Swift, and they barely give him the football. And if they would give that guy the football more, I guarantee you they would not be 11-6 right now. I watched 2 of their games against the Giants and a lot of their games on prime time, and the problem that they had was they don't blitz on defense, and they don't run the football on offense. And what happens is when you throw those 5-yard plays, yes, it works, right? But it's not the same as a defense because the defense is just going to be sitting back in their zone the entire way. They're going to put 7 in the box, 8 in the box, and they don't have to worry about stopping the run because you don't run the football. So they have more defenders there in coverage. So your 2 stud receivers can't do anything because there are 4 or 5 guys out there covering them on each play. If they were to run the football, get to 12 personnel, they could then open up their offense more because then nobody would know what they're doing. That's the problem, is when you do the 11 personnel, you line Dallas Goedert up, you line A.J. Brown up, and Devontae Smith, you do the same shit every fucking week, you lose football games. And that's the problem with Nick Sirianni. And the thing is, you can't fix that in 2 days, in 2 weeks. That's a philosophical thing. That's what we had with McAdoo. Remember, McAdoo used to run the 11 personnel. He used to run everything out of 11 personnel shotgun. No matter what it was, it could be shotgun this, everything out of shotgun. Eagles do the same thing. The only time they go in the center is basically for the tush push.
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, let's move on real quick because we're gonna have to wrap up a little early today, everybody. But
I'm sorry, I do
talk a
apologize.
little bit Dallas, Green Bay hosting the Dallas Cowboys. You ain't got nothing to apologize for, man. The
I
Green
know
Bay
that we
Packers will be traveling to Dallas on Sunday afternoon, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, man. In this matchup, in this NFC wildcard matchup, man. Dallas Cowboys coming off the big win against Washington to seal the NFC East division crown. Green Bay Packers had with an impressive victory over their division rival Chicago Bears. A very impressive victory, as a matter of fact. Just Jordan Love looked really, really good in this game. Think these guys are ready for the big time. How do you feel about this one?
First off, I want to say there's somebody in the chat that I think owes me an apology. His name is, I'll call him out. His name is Zion Zenith, because he told me that Dak Prescott was going to stink. Him and NYG22, I'll call him out by name too. They both told me Dak Prescott was going to fall off. Well, guess what? That guy had 4,500 yards, 36 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions. Okay, 9 interceptions. He didn't even hit double-digit interceptions. He has almost the same amount of interceptions as Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones played 6 games. Okay, just putting it out there. The Cowboys are in a prime position. This is where they wanted to be. They wanted to be home. You know why they wanted to be home? Because they have done wonders at home. They have like a 9-0 record at home or something like that. They're doing pretty well for themselves at home. I think this matchup is one that favors them. I do want to see Jordan Love do well. That's what I would like to see. However, I think the Cowboys are getting what they want. They want to be the second seed. They earn the right to be the second seed. Go out and handle your business against your ex-team. What storylines we have in the playoffs, right? We're not even talking about Matthew Stafford going to Detroit. What about the Green Bay Packers and Mike McCarthy's ex-team coming into his new building right now? A lot riding on that team. You want to talk about another coach being fired? Mike McCarthy, your fat ass is on the hot seat. Okay, you want to talk about a hot plate? 2 of his cheeks are on the hot seat. If you go out and you lose to your former team, the Green Bay Packers, a team that kicked you to the curb years ago and replaced you, this is going to be a revenge game. I think this has got the Cowboys written all over it. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to keep it a close game, but I think Cowboys are going to win by like 10, 28, 38, 28, something like that. I think you're going to see the Packers find their franchise quarterback in Jordan Love, who also threw 30 touchdowns, by the way. And it arguably could be an MVP candidate if it wasn't for his team's record, because he plays that well as well. So it's going to be fun to watch. But I think the Cowboys are right where they want to be. They don't lose at AT&T Stadium.
I mean, they are. Right. For one thing, they're home. They play tremendous at home this season. I mean, pretty much blowing the doors off of most of their competition coming to that stadium. I think honestly, I think this is going to be the case in this game. I don't think this is going to be the game. I think the Dallas Cowboys are going to absolutely annihilate the Green Bay Packers here. I think the Packers had a great season. Obviously, fought hard, battled hard, got into this postseason. But I just think here is just not a stage that they're quite ready for at this current time right now, man. I just think Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. This is a seasoned team with a lot of playoff experience, man. A lot of guys been in this moment, man. Been in this on this stage, and I just think it's going to get to a point of being a little too overwhelming. I can see Micah Parsons just really having a big night and wrecking the game here for the Green Bay offense, man. I think the pass rush is going to be coming. It's going to be ferocious. And I think it's just going to be something, unfortunately, the young Jordan Love hasn't seen quite yet and might not be quite ready for it, man. Well, as much as I would like to see the young man go out there and play well, I just think this is going to be a tough ask again in this particular matchup against this Dallas Cowboy team.
Think about this, okay? The Cowboys haven't had a home playoff game since you and I were young Bucs, okay? 1995, I think, was their last home game. Might have been 90. I think they went to Carolina in 96. Right? Oh, no, sorry. They had 2016 as well. So they've had a couple home games since then. Actually, I'm off. They've had a lot of home games. The point is, this is what they wanted. They did not want to be on the road. Last year, they were on the road. They did not fare well. They won one game against Tampa Bay on the road. Fine. Okay. The depleted Tampa Bay team. Then they got railroaded by the 49ers. Guess what? You don't have to face the 49ers till the end of the year. You have literally 2 games at home, because no matter what, you are the second seed. So whoever wins, regardless if it's Detroit or Tampa Bay or the Eagles or whoever Detroit's playing and yourself, the next game that you play is going to be in your building. So this is what you shot for. This is what you worked so hard to get to. Don't blow it. And mind you, I picked the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. They will be traveling to San Francisco, barring some kind of upset, barring like I don't know. They would play the Detroit Lions. Let's say Detroit wins. They would play Detroit, and Tampa Bay would then go to San Francisco if it falls the way we think it's going to fall. Right. That means Tampa Bay is probably not going to beat San Francisco. So you're screwed. So what you want is the Rams. What you would like to see is the Rams come to your building, because if the Rams win and let's say Tampa Bay wins, then you get Tampa Bay, and the lower seed, i.e. the Rams, would head to San Francisco, and you get the chance to have a team possibly upset San Francisco and play at home. My point is, what I'm trying to get to land this ship is there is a slight possibility you could go all the way through Dallas to get to the NFC Championship game. This is what you worked for. I don't know if McCarthy's going to be fired. I will tell you this. If he loses to Green Bay, he'll be on the unemployment line on Monday. That's probably a fact.
I agree with that. I mean, if he loses this game in the wild card round at home to the Green Bay Packers, a young Green Bay Packer team, I agree. He definitely will be on the unemployment line the next damn day. Jerry Jones is not going to tolerate that.
You have a friend.
Yeah, he's not going to have a tolerance for that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that is, so I don't know where you could have possibly seen me or try waving me down at. So, but yeah, this Green. I just think Green Bay is, like they said, they did a good job playing hard to get up and had this opportunity, but I just believe that they're not quite ready. They're not quite ready for this stage right now. I think it's just going to be a little too much to handle in Jerry's world, man. You know, Jerry's going to pull out all the stops, man. That stadium is going to be absolutely rocking. And I just think it's going to be too much for the Green Bay Packers.
It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a very much a lot.
What's going on, Kenneth Perkins? Thanks for stopping in, man. Yeah, the Seahawks did happen to not make the playoffs, and apparently Pete Carroll will no longer be the Seahawks head coach, man. Apparently, but he may stick around and work with the organization in some other capacity. Apparently, is the reports I was reading earlier. So, see what goes on with that. But
well, I mean,
I guess we can just talk about it.
The offseason now here is basically the NFC East. You have two lame duck teams and two good teams. I think one is probably going to advance in the playoffs. That'd be the Dallas Cowboys, or has a better chance to advance. For all I know, the Eagles could turn it on Monday night for whatever reason. Call me crazy. I've seen stranger things happen where teams loaf into the playoffs like the Eagles did, and then next thing you know, they're like, oh shit, this is where we need to be. This is the mission that we accomplished, and they start taking everything a little bit more serious, Or if they do what we think they do, they'll probably fall completely flat in their face, and we'll probably see the end of the Nick Sirianni era. Believe it or not, that's kind of crazy to think about.
I think that's crazy. I think that's a very drastic move. I mean, how you feel about him or not, Nick Sirianni has coached his team to the postseason 3 consecutive seasons, like you said, to a Super Bowl a year ago, and to an 11-6 record this year, which is still nothing to sneeze at. So,
like here, Nick, you're either fired or you get Nick Sirianni as your defense coordinator.
Got a question right here from Kenneth Perkins, man. He says, "Let me ask you guys, how bad in shape are the Giants as far as for the rebuild?" Whew.
Well, can we start with, are they rebuilding? That's what the main question is.
They need to be.
Right.
They need to be rebuilding. They need to rebuild this thing, like I said, and it starts with the most important position on the field. Clearly, questions to me, I don't know how to anybody else this question isn't answered. The QB is most definitely an issue, a big problem. And with competent quarterback play, this could have been a far better season with the way this defense was playing, and particularly with just some competent quarterback play. Who knows? We would have swept the Eagles with competent quarterback play. The Cowboys busted our ass pretty bad, so I'm
We would have
not
beat
quite sure.
we
We
would have
probably
beat
would have still got
Buffalo.
swept
We
by
would have
them.
beat Buffalo with competent
we would have
quarterback
beat
play.
we would have beat Buffalo with competent quarterback play. Yeah, absolutely. And there's probably a couple other ones that I'm not thinking of right off
We
the
could
hand.
have
On the
competed
hand. I
with
mean,
the
hell, shoot.
Raiders with competent quarterback play. I mean, like,
Absolutely.
we could have beat the
And
Jets
I'm
with
not sure how
competent
that
quarterback
Seattle
play.
game goes. Not sure how that Seattle game goes either because I mean most of the reason why they end up destroying us the way they did was because of the incompetence of the quarterback position in that game. So I mean, who knows how that game would have went with just a competent guy out there. Period. So yeah, that's the problem. That's the issue. I mean, the offensive line, we get it. There's holes all over the place. This offensive line needs to be fixed. What's going on, Buko?
We've been to the playoffs
But
twice. We won one game.
At the end of the day, we need to address the quarterback position. Did you see who won the AFC South? The team that won the AFC South picked number 2 overall last season in the draft. You know why they picked number 2 overall in the draft? Because they fucking sucked. That's why they picked number 2 overall in the draft. They got C.J. Stroud. They got their quarterback. And just like that, they are now the AFC South champions, and they are hosting a playoff game Saturday afternoon. That's the importance of the quarterback position. That's what I'm talking about. That team is still not a great team. That team still has work to do as far as building that team. But they inserted a quarterback that can make some plays and do some things, and look where they at just a season later. That right there shows you the importance of if you get that right guy. The offensive line is garbage. It's trash. We understand that. But you saw what Tyrod Taylor was able to do behind that same garbage offensive line. You saw what even Tommy DeVito was even able to do behind that same garbage offensive line. They were able to make more plays and make things happen and just make it a little more sustainable. It was still a bad line, but they were still able to figure out ways to manipulate things and make some plays and get the damn ball down the field. I mean, the ball suddenly, second half of the season, we started seeing downfield throwing from the New York Giants offense. Suddenly, it was amazing. All of a sudden, put the second string quarterback and third string quarterback in there. Now all of a sudden, we can throw the ball down the field. All of a sudden, that doesn't seem like it should go that way. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going for the New York Giants this season, and I'm just over it and I'm done. I gave that kid every chance I could, and I gave him every chance I could. Adam tried to convince me tooth and nail even last year, and I was still defending this dude. Still defending this dude. It's not no more, man. I can't do it.
I'm not
I
trying to
can't
take
do it.
victory laps.
I'm adamant about it. We need to address that position, and with the number 6 overall pick, we're in prime position to do so, and we got to do it. And don't let that game you saw from Michael Penix Jr. on Monday night totally scare you away from that kid. Don't. I mean, yes, it wasn't a good look. It wasn't necessarily. It wasn't his best effort. But at the end of the day, don't just all of a sudden just throw him off your draft board, kick him off your draft board. I'm telling you that kid's a player, man.
Well, the GM already said that he made a mistake anticipating this team was ready to compete. That was his bad. Now he has a chance to rectify that problem. And, the problem is they need to go quarterback. You can tell me they're not going QB. They need to leave this draft with somebody. I'm sorry, G Nation. I mean, Daniel Jones is not the guy. You're not going to convince me. Nobody on that side is going to convince me he's the guy. If they do not get their quarterback, they're all being fired. They are going to be fired. They don't have to go quarterback, but I'm going to tell you go quarterback. If they bring back Daniel Jones, that's just stupidity. He has two neck injuries and a torn ACL, and he was playing terrible. Are you serious right now? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What are you talking about? We do need to get a QB.
Okay, we do need to get a.
Okay, so but I don't care. I don't care. By hook or by crook, get one of these top guys. Okay, I don't care if you have to trade back in the first round to get Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, whatever. Get a guy in here because I'm not going to be satisfied. And I went on a mini rant by myself, which I wish it was recorded because it was. I was so fired up about this happening that I went on this rant where I would just like someone came on a space and said, well, they're going to run it back with Daniel Jones, and don't worry, they're not going to pick a quarterback, and you guys are going to be out of your mind. I said that would be gross negligence. I said they will not get a job, they'll be fired, and you're going to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The time clock on Jones is over at 2025, no matter who the coach will be. Because at that point, everyone's going to be fired. Nobody's going to come in and want to take this job and say, yeah, Daniel Jones is my starter. No one's going to do that. That's just not going to happen. So he's got 365 days to keep that seat warm for somebody else. That's the time clock. And it starts come April when they walk in there. I don't care if you have to get Cam Warren. I don't care if you have to get creative and make a trade. I don't care if you have to trade Dexter Lawrence or Andrew Thomas or Kayvon Thibodeau to get the first pick if that pick is open. I don't care. You get your guy. Otherwise, you're going to be on the unemployment line with the rest of these guys. We're going to be sitting here in 2025, probably winning, knowing the Giants, winning 6 games because, hooray, we want to look good at the end of the year and win 6 games, be out of the running for a quarterback and be fucking stuck there. Get the guy now.
I mean, you just have to, man. You got to address that. I mean, there's other things. Obviously, we know this team does have other needs, obviously, too. But it's just none bigger than the quarterback position. Like I said, competent quarterback play would have won us a few more games this season alone. And this season, as bad as this year still was for this team, just competent quarterback play in a few other games would have won us a few more. And maybe we would have been stumbled in there as one of these wild card spots. Who knows? But at the end of the day, that has to be addressed, man. It does. Like I said, I can't stress it more. When you watch with a guy like Tommy DeVito, who is undrafted rookie free agent, third string quarterback, comes in and he's more effective than your starting quarterback. And with all the same disadvantages, he's throwing to the same receivers. He got the same beat up piece of shit offensive line in front of him. And why is a guy like that able to come in and be more effective than your starting guy, man? That's disappointing to me. It was disappointing to see that, to know that we paid a guy $160 million who's scared to throw the ball down the field, who's scared to just try to make a play. I mean, Tyrod Taylor was throwing the ball fearlessly down the field. Hell, DeVito was too.
Well, if they don't go QB, Luke, they're fired, period. That's it. Fired. You're not going to do it. This is what I'm saying. They need to get a quarterback, and it's not even funny. You can't go around here and get cute with it, right? That's what people say. Trade down, trade up. If J.J. McCarthy is one of the top quarterbacks, you take him now at 6, and away you go. And away you go, and you say, well, this is a guy who's going to come in. We're going to develop him, and you do that. You don't fucking say, let me trade up and down the board and see if I can get a guy in the back end. If the Chicago Bears tell you, hey, we're shopping the first overall pick, you move heaven and earth to get to that spot, to get Caleb Williams. If they move down a spot to number 2 because they gave Washington the pick because they decided to move up, you move heaven and earth to get there. You just go and get a guy. If Jaden Daniels is on the board, don't wait, because you know what's going to happen. Atlanta could be up there waiting and say, hey, we want Jaden Daniels. We'll move up to 5 with the Chargers, and they'll chart back down because you're sitting there being the Giants. The Giants know, Dable knows, these guys know their fate. I know we got 5th overall. Yeah, we got DJ 6th overall. So they also Justin Herbert was also taken 6th overall. So don't let it fool you, okay? Just because 6th overall. Daniel Jones never should. The quarterbacks coming out in this draft are better than Daniel Jones. That's a fact. Don't try to tell me they're not. It's a fucking fact. I've done the research. I know what I'm talking about. These guys are better. Whether or not they want to take them that early is up to them. But if they don't walk away out of this draft, when it's all said and done, with a quarterback that's picked in at least the first or second round, you might as well count down the days because they're all going to be fired. And in 2025, John Mara won't be able to save DJ's ass because whoever comes in as the GM/coach or maybe just the head coach, guess what? They ain't keeping DJ. That's a fact.
I mean, nobody's keeping DJ at this point, man. Look, just got to move on. Nah, he know you're not disagreeing with him. He's just saying that you got to get a quarterback, man. I mean, I feel like that's what they have to do. Like you said, they might not.
Too much drama right now.
Like I agree with Adam, that would be irresponsible. It would be irresponsible not to take a quarterback. With that, I mean, it'd be irresponsible in my opinion. You just got. I mean, that's the way you got to go here, man. Like I said, you got to bring in coaches that can coach these guys up, these offensive linemen up. Because, like I said, I'm not saying don't draft any offensive linemen or anything like that. I'm just saying they got to get coached up. You can't just keep investing high draft picks into that same positional group and thinking the results are going to be different. At the end of the day, the coaches got to coach these guys up and coach these guys to be players, man, because you can't – I'm not convinced that all these guys are busts, and I'm not convinced that these guys all suck that bad. It's something – it was definitely a disconnect. They made the right move firing Bobby Johnson on Monday. Whatever he was preaching, it was not working, man, and you got to get somebody in here that can get the most out of these guys, man. And that's what it comes down to. But while you're doing that, you gotta find your quarterback, because Daniel Jones is not Joe Shane or Brian Dable's quarterback. About to cut the show about to end, Lou, honestly, because we gotta get ready to take off. But we'll get you on here on one of the off-season shows for sure. All right, bro. But yeah, that's just where we're at with it, man. We're gonna be definitely coming with these during the off-season. Real Deal NFC's roundup. We're going to have some off-season shows because it's going to be a lot of off-season talk, a lot of off-season chatter. But we're going to definitely still keep coming with y'all and ride this season out as well.
Huge
until there's no one left, man. So
huge.
Right now we still got two dogs in the fight right now in this division. So we're going to see how long those guys can last. And we're going to ride out with y'all until they done, and then we're going to keep coming with y'all in the off season as well. Some shows here and there.
Two NFC East teams in the top 10 of the draft. Two NFC East teams in the top 10 of the draft. That's all we're going to be
bringing it. But we're going to be bringing that shit to y'all, man. So until next time, man, which will be next week for the divisional round, man. It'll be back to our regular scheduled time next week at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate everybody coming through, everybody in the chat. Make sure y'all sub up myself, Adam Costas, man, the Hardcore Sports Network. Sub up to my guy in the chat right there, G Nation.
You also told me 11-6.
Sub up to G Nation. Sub up to Zion Zenith, man, our co-host on the Premium Takes podcast, which y'all can catch on Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, man. And thanks to everybody else in the chat. No mess, no nest, no jets. Thanks. Appreciate you always holding it down, man. You are our top guy in the chat. Always, every week you come through and show this show love and support, man. We definitely appreciate that, man. For real, man. So we will be back next Wednesday, and we'll check y'all out, man. Yo, let's cut that shit out, man. But we'll see y'all next week, man. Once again, back at our regular time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me, myself, and my super dope co-host right here, Adam Costas, man. It's been another edition of the Real Deal NFC East Roundup. Thanks. I'd like to thank you all for listening. If you was feeling this, please take time to subscribe and smack them likes. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to ring that bell so you know when I'm dropping new content. It's your boy, Mac the Giants Fan. You can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook at Mac the Giants Fan. That's MACDA Giants Fan.